Long's Biker World here on Inside the Game on AM 1160 KBCE. You can listen to past episodes of Gene Long's Biker World by going to kbceradio.com/sports, and you can get information on how you can listen to past episodes and get the podcast of Inside the Game. Let's return you back to our host, the Biker Chicks, and Gene.
Thank you very much, Coach Matt.
Sounded good. I liked it.
Hey.
Now we're chicks. We've gone from babes to chicks.
Although I'm not looking much like a babe tonight. I mean, Rhonda, you're in this hot leather outfit and kind of chains.
Chainmail.
And
Oh,
I'm
it's the
looking
hot
at
thing.
the guests in the studio with all your bling. I mean, bikers have bling.
They
I
do.
have no bling. I have no leather. I have no game tonight.
Well, but you've got that number. You've got that number.
Oh, she's sharing her bling.
Would everybody agree that the number 10 is a good number? Is that coming pretty good? I can't hear you. Say something over there.
I agree 100%.
All right, there you
Rhonda
go.
shared her bling.
There we go, the bling
I'm
shared.
part of the group tonight.
All right. Well, we're going to go right back. All right. We've got our girls in here, DFW Sports Angel Robin and Miss Rhonda Newsom. I want to talk a second because he's so important to the club publicly, and that's about one of the founding members of the Oakland chapters of the Hells Angels, 1957, the most famous Sonny Barger. Now, some people said Sonny Barger, but he is something really. You know, he joined the ROTC, and he was really a small guy and didn't do well, joined the military, came back out, and really had a rough time, went out and saw the movie, The Wild Ones, and he was so impressed by what he saw, that's what he wanted to be. So he went out and became it. Now let me tell you what'll surprise you. Here's some of the books. Hell's Angel, The Life and Times of Sonny Barger and the Hell's Angel Motorcycle Club. Freedom, Credos from the Road. Death in 5 Heartbeats, and 6 Chambers, 1 Bullet. He was an editor for the book Riding High, Living Free. He was identified but didn't speak in Hell's Angels on Wheels way back in the late 60s. And he was one of the several Hell's Angels who had actually speaking parts, playing themselves in a Hell's Angels 69. Now for you guys who are young, back in the late 60s, early 70s, there was a rash of motorcycle movies. And they were Hell's Angels on Wheels and Death's Angels, and even one that was funny, it replicated what Sonny had done. He had sent the president a letter and said, look, you guys are having problems in Vietnam. Give me the transportation and the ammo and the equipment, and I'll take 200-300 Hell's Angels over there, and we'll take care of this problem for you.
Seriously?
That's serious, yes. And they made a movie and showing them on dirt bikes with machine guns. Hell's Angels go to Vietnam, so
How bold.
Is that crazy?
Very confident and very bold.
Oh, absolutely. He said one time, every man in this room is looking at me and wishing they were me. And the women all were too. There's another thing that's rather interesting I found. Everybody says they were a Hell's Angel. And one time quoted Sonny Barger as saying, look again at your boyfriend and know this. He never was and never will be. He wrote a guide for motorcycle riders that was published in 2010, trying to help people. He's quite a guy. But
He is, and if you've done it, I was reading some of the excerpts from Freedom, and it's a self-help book. Very insightful. Definitely worth looking into.
What's his take on self-help? With an
Basically,
ego
you
like
need
that?
to really look at yourself. What's important to you? What do you stand on? It doesn't matter really what others think about you. It's where you stand. What is important to you, and what are you willing to live for, and what are you willing to die for? And those are some of the main questions that he asked.
That last one's powerful.
it is.
Yeah. But if anyone's interested in any of his books, you can go on his website, sonnybarger.com, and you can purchase any of his books, and
tonight's information, other than being from Bill Hayes' book, is also from the web, which is hells-angels.com. And so this is all interesting stuff. Now, if you go back in 1969, the Rolling Stones had the Altamont Free concert, and there was a killing at the concert. it was caught on film, and they made that into a movie, and that's crazy. You know, we talked a minute ago about Hunter S. Thompson's best-selling book, Hell's Angels: The Strange and Terrible Saga of the Outlaw Motorcycle Gangs. It was supposed to be a expose, but I think under the influence, he might have stretched the truth just a little bit. And Tom Wolfe's bestseller, The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test.
What a name.
Oh, yeah. They were depicted as crazy bikers, you know.
I've got a quick question for you.
Uh-huh.
Back at that time, were they as powerful and intimidating as the mafia was?
Pretty much more so, because they were actually out there. You know, in other words, they're driving down the road. They passed you and your family on both sides and made faces at you, obscene gestures. They went where they wanted to go. They threw parties regardless.
So they were extroverts and
Oh,
the mafia.
my gosh.
It was the opposite.
You know, it was just crazy. You know, the mafia sort of always had a plan. These guys, their plan was to ride free and live. And so it wasn't...
And just get into these sprees as they happen.
Yeah, you know, you might tell them, hey, you guys didn't pay for your gas. They burned down the gas station. You know, so it was sort of like, whoa, you know.
I think now they have realized that there's a lot to be said for political clout.
And they haven't.
And I think they're pretty toned down. I mean, it's not
But I guess
in your face like it used to
Well,
be.
now they would be because they're much older men, and you hope that as you get older, you
They've got
mature
plenty
a
of
little
young
bit.
men. They've got plenty of young
But
men.
when they probably started, though, I mean, all these men were young
Mhm.
boys.
They were. Well, we talked last week with the Bandidos. You know, we were talking about the coalition of clubs. And that's a major thing going on, where you're going to the governor and saying, hey, we want this, we want this. And these guys organize up. Now, in '83, Sonny Barger was diagnosed with throat cancer. And that was caused from years of heavy smoking. Today, he's the first one to say, don't smoke.
That's
You know?
one of his 3 regrets. He wished he had never started smoking.
At least he's being vocal about it. Somebody that has that much clout, whether good or bad, people are going to listen.
Now, here comes the funny part, and if you don't mind me saying this, back in 1988, Sonny Barger was sentenced for conspiracy to blow up the clubhouse of a rival gang. So we get right back to the basics, you know.
So his rebellion's not completely gone.
He spent 4 years in federal prison in Arizona. And, you know, what's a little unusual is he ended up, you know, he was around Oakland and everything, and he's come back and he's actually settled, has a ranch and several business interests and things in Arizona, in Cave Creek near Phoenix. Technically he is out of it, but he's
It's
still
amazing
around.
he's still alive, though, with
I
all
know.
the things that supposedly he spearheaded and it was.
He's 74 now, and let me tell
How
you,
did he escape?
well, he just lucked
Being
out
killed
in some
himself.
of it. Yeah, really. But he's a tough guy. He's small. The last season of the Sons of Anarchy, he was in the last show, and then
Was he really?
oh yeah, he's playing a pimp, and it's pretty funny. He's playing Lenny the Pimp Janowitz. Yeah, and there he was, which is really funny because the show's creator, Kurt Sutter, was actually in the room with him when they brought the pimp in, and they're talking to each other. And due to his medical condition, Sonny has to put his finger up on his throat when he talks. And so it's an interesting. What is the diagnosis there? What is that called?
He had a laryngectomy,
Laryngectomy.
and he basically
Doc Newsom.
has a
Yeah.
little prosthesis in the back of his throat, and he has to push on it, and he uses the muscles in his throat to speak. Now, his voice quality is quite different from what it used to be, and it takes a lot of effort. I think he's always been a man of few words, but when you go onto his website and listen to some of his quotes, it brings home who he is and what he stands for, and he is very succinct in the things that he says.
Well, the latest book, Let's Ride, Sonny Barger's Guide to Motorcycling, was also previously helped the Complete Idiot's Guide to Motorcycles.
That would be me. I need a guide. I need an idiot's
And
guide.
right now, the last motorcycle I heard he's riding is a Victory, made right here in America, and it's one of those big full dress ones. Wow. And he's quite a guy. You got to take a step back and look and see what he's accomplished. It's not for everybody. It's living the outlaw lifestyle. But these are outlaws of today that are still riding way out
And
west.
things that we're enamored with hearing the stories.
It's amazing.
And you're listening to Gene Long's Biker World. We will wrap up the hour. Coming up next here on AM 1160 KVCE, DFW's Business Authority.
From Wall Street to the Metroplex, this is 11.